base are belong to us.
You're listening to Gamers Digest, a podcast where your hosts put the controllers down just long enough to talk about gaming news, rumors, and anything else they can think of. Here are your hosts, Spider-One and Mr. Factastic.
Welcome to Gamers Digest. I had a little bit of mouse trouble there, so it lost some sound for a while, but hopefully you can hear us now. We are Gamers Digest. We are a fan podcast, video cast. We talk about gaming news, rumors. We do previews, reviews, deals,
discussion topics,
yes, hot issues in the gaming universe.
Literally.
Yeah, you're not supposed to say that. No. This week we had a whole lot of news. We're doing a show at our normal time. We actually had a week break in between, so we got a whole lot of news to talk about. But what did you play this week?
I have an interesting story because I tried to play Final Fantasy 13, and my Xbox wouldn't start.
Uh-oh.
And I thought someone, my Xbox is like falling apart.
Yeah, your Xbox is like you got like a hamster running it.
It is literally falling apart. Like it doesn't do wireless doesn't work on it.
Right.
I think one of the USB ports doesn't even work.
Wow.
So like there's only one port that I can plug it. I have to use a wired controller in order to play any game.
Right.
But I was trying to turn it on, and it would light up. The controller would light up a little bit, but then it would just die. I was like, "What is my Xbox dead?" I was like, because my brother wanted me to. My youngest brother, he's like 10. He wanted me to get on Xbox Live and add him to his friend list and chat online and stuff like that. But I couldn't get on there. But eventually, later on in the day, I went and saw there was the how there's that box to the power.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't there. The power cord wasn't all the way plugged in. It was a little loose. Once I plugged it in there, it started right back up. But by then, I didn't feel like playing any games. But yeah, it works.
Hey, that's good.
Still
I mean,
alive.
it's a lot better than the PlayStation 3 right now.
Yeah,
I mean, it goes back to that first step. Is it plugged in?
Yeah, is it plugged in? I thought it was. I was getting a little bit of juice, and I see it start lighting up, but then it would just stop.
You could have did more damage that way.
I probably could have.
Set the apartment on fire. I had a pretty busy week. I didn't get to play a whole lot of stuff. We're getting ready for Otakon this weekend, so not so much time playing there, but played a lot of Skyrim when I did get to play. Still working on the house in Minecraft. I have the trouble because I look at these pictures and I see these people make these amazing, amazing houses in Minecraft, and then I go try to make it and mine looks like crap. I mean, I guess I don't have the spatial awareness to figure out okay, this should be this high, this should be this high, and I'm going off of pictures and it still looks like crap. So I don't know. I'll keep
spatial awareness and patience. They must be really patient.
Yeah.
Try to pull that off.
So pretty much. I gave up on the exterior of the castle for the time being, and I started building the bat cave. So I started working underneath.
Nice.
So I find it's a little easier to take away and mold rather than just build up. So, still working on there. And then I played a little bit of Street Fighter 4, trying to get decent at that,
Yeah.
I watched some of the Evo matches. Man, that looks like a lot of fun. We go play online and. I'm not even close. I'm hitting buttons. I don't know what I'm doing.
Yeah, if you really want to get schooled, or put in your place, just take Street Fighter 4 online.
Yeah, really.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we got a lot of news. Little news, big news for almost everything. The first story is Battle Block Theater. We talked about it. You and I played it a little bit. They're offering 3 free prisoners this week. For any of you who don't know, prisoners are basically just characters. You can choose how they look, and that's what the prisoners are. And they plan to put more prisoners out along the way, so that's pretty cool.
Yeah, definitely.
Free stuff, so.
Who doesn't like free stuff? This is an interesting little story here. Crytek took 4 of their websites down due to suspicious activity. I guess people were trying to hack into it or something. We've had some stories in the past about, sites getting hacked. And made me wonder, could it be that, like, what if it was the same person kind of just screw around? You know, just doing it for kicks. You know?
It could be the same group that's
Yeah.
targeted other organizations. They did say today, I didn't get to put this in there, but they updated it and said that some user information may have been lost. Like, I guess they saw some suspicious activity and stopped it, and I guess maybe they rolled it back or something, or, you know, some stuff was lost or corrupted along the way. So they said they're looking into it. If they find anything, you'll get an email. Crytek, for people who don't know, or the people who make Crysis, they have some other stuff going on, but Crysis is like their big one.
Yeah.
So
What they're
yeah,
known for.
check change your password. I believe some of their websites are still up, but, you know, just keep an eye on your email.
Yeah.
This weekend was QuakeCon, probably one of the biggest crowd-funded gaming conventions initially. I mean, because it's done by id Software, it's always been kind of like the indie convention. But a lot of developers and stuff have gone out and, you know, made some announcements there. There's also some other conventions going on, I guess, to compete with it. And one of them was Sony talking about the next EverQuest game. EverQuest is probably like everybody says World of Warcraft is like the MMO juggernaut, but it really all started with EverQuest.
Yeah,
like,
it did start with EverQuest. It was the quintessential.
That's basically like
Yeah.
the best way I describe it to people is EverQuest is like the raw clay. And World of Warcraft took that clay and it sculpted it into what it is. I mean, it's still probably the best MMO out there if you're looking for a theme park MMO. But EverQuest was like the start of it. Well, they finally detailed EverQuest Next, which basically they took that clay and said, screw it, we're starting over. Grabbed a whole new ball of clay. And it there's some stuff in it that intrigued me. Like, it's like World of Warcraft meets Minecraft meets Grand Theft Auto. I mean, it's like so sandboxy, but so not. Like Guild Wars 2 stuff.
It seemed interesting. I mean, I dabbled a little bit in EverQuest. I remember they have a PlayStation 2 online version.
Maybe.
Online Adventures. EverQuest Online Adventures. Yeah, that was like I played a little bit of that. My brother, he got into EverQuest a little bit, but yeah, I think the name is dumb.
Well, it's an MMO. I mean, it's literally.
Why couldn't they just call it EverQuest 3?
Well, I think because it's not really like EverQuest 1 and EverQuest 2. The only difference was there were upgrades. There were graphical upgrades. You know, they added some classes, stuff like that. Really, EverQuest 2 could have been an expansion for EverQuest 1. We're just still getting expansions. Like, EverQuest 1 got its 15th expansion this year.
Wow.
So, yeah.
And it is free to play. Both of them are, aren't they?
I think they're both free to play. I never tried the second one. I did play the first one for a little bit, way back in the day. But I think they had to change it because it's different. I mean, like I said, it's like Minecraft. You can you know, destruct the environment, build up, do all that stuff. Meanwhile, there's still quests, there's still classes, there's still dungeons and stuff like that. So it's pretty cool. And they did say that most of the environment will be destructible, but there are certain areas that you can't. Like, I guess there are some NPC towns and stuff. But they say it's going to be different server to server. So, like, on one server you can log in and it'll be a field, and on another server you'll log in and it's like a player city. So that's pretty cool. That really reminded me of Star Wars Galaxies. Like, to the next level. Like, you know, one server can build a mountain if they try hard enough and build, like, you know, like the dwarf fortress in the mountain. Whereas in the other one, it's still just plains. So that's, you know, I'm intrigued. It's different. So we'll see.
That is cool. Me and my brother were reminiscing about Star Wars Galaxies.
Oh man, I miss Star Wars Galaxy. Those
were the good old days.
Yeah, that I would say would be the grandfather of, like, the sandbox MMOs. That's really where it started. So, yep. But, you know, keep an eye out. You can go to Sony Online Entertainment, SOE.com. You can apply for the beta. I personally couldn't apply for the beta because for some reason it wouldn't let any of my logins work, and I reset the password.
Suspicious activity.
Well, like, I reset the password. I was like, okay, maybe I don't really play any Sony games. Like, I play PlanetSide 2 occasionally, but I go through Steam for that, so it doesn't matter.
Oh.
But I was like, okay, maybe I forgot my password. So, you know, I know all the security questions. So I go through the change password thing, and then I log in with the new password, and it says invalid password. So I think maybe they just had a whole lot of traffic, but, you know, supposedly you can sign up for beta. There you go.
Cool. Let's see what's next. So this story is pretty cool. Microsoft applying for glasses, like
Google Glass,
like
yeah.
Google Glass, yeah, so they can, you know, have some other peripheral to go with their Xbox One, possibly. Who knows?
Yeah, I like, you know, all this augmented reality stuff. It seems really hit or miss. Like some of it seems cool, and other of it, I'm like, why would I need that? Like,
yeah, like
why would I even?
Kind of. I mean, as interesting as it is, it's probably something I'd never buy.
Right. And as soon as they pulled porn from Google Glass, I was like, I'm not interested. I mean, you can't watch it on the go. Why would you need glasses that have TV?
You got a point.
But I mean, it's a cool idea. Like if a bunch of people have it, you can do like fencing games, and they detailed all this stuff in this patent. But it's still very early. I mean, it is just a patent.
Yeah.
So, yeah. CD Projekt Red, Witcher guys, pretty much. They also have a sci-fi game that is like Cyber 2033. We showed
2077.
Yeah, whatever.
Yeah, it's gonna come out in 2077.
Yeah. So they opened a new studio. I had to put this in there because we always talk closings, and openings are big news because that's good. So yeah, they opened a new Polish studio. They
Krakow.
Yeah.
Krakow.
So hopefully we'll see more stuff from them. So, yeah, pretty cool. 3DS, Wii U, and Vita really aren't going to be in id Software's future. They kind of detailed that at QuakeCon. They said, you know, really there's not enough there for us to want to make games for them.
What was that guy's name? Carmack?
Carmack,
yeah. He said he had a quote in there that kind of goes with the last story we had with the glasses, the augmented reality glasses. Like he said something about the second that Wii U thing,
the second screen.
Yeah, second screen. Like how like no, he's talking about the Kinect.
Okay.
How it's like, you know, it doesn't really seem like the future or where the future's going, and it's more of like a latent. It's like a really laggy. I forget what his description was, but like he really hit it home that, you know, this stuff that we don't really. There's this stuff that's out that we don't really need.
Right.
You know, that's pretty much what he said.
I mean, id Software's, you know, they've been around for a while.
Yeah.
You know, they've been making games since games were to be made.
So you kind of have to like listen to what this guy's saying.
Right, and this guy's been, I guess, president or CEO or, you know, whatever he is for id Software forever. Looking for it.
Yeah, I'm gonna find out what he said.
But I mean, they made like Wolfenstein, Doom, stuff like that. So he probably knows what he's talking about, and we've kind of talked about that too, like how the motion controls and stuff really don't matter to the core gamer. Like they're fun for the family experience, but the core gamer, it really doesn't matter.
Call it a fundamentally poor interaction and likening it to a zero-button mouse with a lot of latency.
There you go. So, John Carmack, not behind motion controls.
Yeah.
Breath of Fire 6 was announced. Everybody was like, yay! And then they found out it was a browser-based game, and everybody no one cared.
Well, when I read that article, the only thing that I cared about was that there was a Monster Hunter coming out for PS3.
Woo! I was excited that Breath of Fire 2 is getting not remade but re-released. That's cool. Like I like the old Breath of Fire games. Now if they could do 3 on the PlayStation Store, that would be the best. 3 was my favorite.
I'm surprised it isn't. Didn't that come out around like Resident Evil 2?
Yeah.
By the time that came out?
It's all licensing. It's all licensing. Xbox One got a big upgrade. Big upgrade.
Yeah.
I think this is just them trying to say we're better than Sony. They upgraded the graphics processor unit clock speed from 800 to 853 megahertz.
Wow. What is Sony's?
800.
Okay.
So I believe 800. So I think they're trying to push as much as they can. They're like, oh, we overclocked it. So, yeah, honestly, I don't know how much difference it's going to make.
Exactly. Yeah. they're trying to save face. They really screwed up at E3. They're just trying to.
It's working though, because I went on GameStop today, and PlayStation 4 you can still order, but Xbox One you can't. So I don't know if that's indicative of they just have more PlayStations, or if there's more Xbox orders now. So we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, we'll see.
Here you go. This is
Oh yeah, Saints Row 4 finally in Australia. It finally got in. Finally got through on its third try. And but there was like a 20-minute mission dealing with. I forget what they took a mission out.
Yeah, they took like a whole mission dealing with the aliens out. So, and they also said that co-op will not be compatible across regions. So if you're in Australia, you have to play with other Aussies.
That kind of sucks.
Yeah, but I guess because they had to make so many changes, they had to.
Yeah.
So, Star Citizen, it's kind of like an MMO sandbox, almost like Star Trek, build your own, ship MMO type thing.
Mm-hmm.
Did some crowdfunding, and it broke a lot of records. It got 15 million in crowdfunding. So
yeah, that's a lot of money.
And that's not even through Kickstarter. Like that was through their own crowdfunding.
Yeah, they did through their own site. I like there's a stat like in the last 5 or 6 days, they raised like 32,000 a day on average.
Yeah.
That's
this really is like the year of the crowdfunding games. Like it's insane that companies are able to do this to get their games made. And I bet you like all the big executives are kicking themselves. Like, why didn't we think of this? So yeah, I mean it looks interesting. It doesn't really look like a game I'd be I'd go out of my way to play.
Yeah.
But it's a cool concept, and obviously $15 million worth of people's opinions agree with it. So
yeah.
There you go.
At least it's going to get made.
Another thing announced at QuakeCon was Elder Scrolls Anthology. All of the Elder Scrolls games, all the core Elder Scrolls games. There's some that aren't included, but basically 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5.
Yep.
I can name them all, but I'm not. But up until Skyrim, all the DLC for each of them in this one package for PC for $80.
$80. That's a lot. That's a pretty good deal.
Right. And I heard your brother quit his next 3 jobs to
in anticipation for it. he really would
start from the beginning. And
I mean, literally, whenever we hear the news about the next Fallout, it's done.
Yeah,
it's done. It's done.
Where does he work? Here, I'll put in my application. I know you'll have a position ready on this stage.
Yep.
Yeah, that's pretty cool that they're putting them all together though for $80. I mean, that's really good. I mean, Skyrim Legendary is 60
alone, yeah.
So you're getting that plus Oblivion plus Morrowind. Those 3 games alone are like there's 1,000 hours worth of gameplay easily.
Yeah, I don't know, like
of core quests.
Whoever buys this won't have a life if they try to play them all.
They'll go in looking like Cartman and come out looking like Smeagol.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, really.
They'd have
to Actibliz. I have to abbreviate it like that because Activision Blizzard's too long and I'm lazy. Actibliz has kind of put the brakes on their next big project called Project Titan.
Mm-hmm.
It was originally supposed to be a subscription MMO, kind of the successor to World of Warcraft, but not an existing franchise. So something new, but they kind of pushed back and said, well, we're kind of changing gears and stuff like that. And it's not going to be a subscription MMO. So now people are like, oh, I wonder what it's going to be. And yeah, I think it might have something to do with that EverQuest next announcement. Like maybe they're like, maybe we need to pull back a little bit and reevaluate it.
Okay. Yeah, that doesn't make sense. Yeah, that would make sense.
I mean, there's been rumors that Titan has had a rocky couple of months in the fact that they were kind of weighing in and out what they wanted to do with it. So they may have had, insider knowledge of what was going on at EverQuest. Because, I mean, a lot of people think a lot of these people are, cutthroat and they don't talk to each other. And I'm sure the executive level is like that.
Yeah.
But a lot of these programmers for MMOs are friends because they've all worked with each other at some point. A lot of the veterans.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, like Guild Wars 2, ArenaNet was founded by guys that left Blizzard. So stuff like that. The original World of Warcraft team.
Hey,
So,
what are you doing now? Oh, I'm working on this. We're trying to do something with this.
yeah, and I'm sure they don't go too in depth, but I'm sure they talk about it like, hey, we're trying something different. What do you guys think about this? And people are probably like, that's really cool. And I'm sure some of that slips through the cracks.
Yeah, some of it will slip through the cracks, and they might move. Okay, we need to figure out our positioning. How are we going to posture now?
Right.
And especially now that the next has been detailed, and nobody knows what Titan is, so
Yeah, and they World of Warcraft's losing subscriptions, and they're finding ways to supplement that. But you gotta realize World of Warcraft's 11-year-old game now, 10-year-old game.
Mm-hmm.
So it 9-year-old, whatever. It's old.
It's old. Yeah, it's old.
For a video game, it is like Old Man Winter old.
Yeah.
They think of how many 10-year-old games you're playing today. Like XCOM.
Okay, XCOM, yeah.
But that's just you, and it's pretty varied. But how many 10-year-old multiplayer games are you playing? Like, even the original Halo came out after that. So
Yeah, that's crazy.
or maybe right around there. But still, so I think maybe they're evaluating because they know they can't do another World of Warcraft. They have to change gears. So we'll see what Titan is. I'm excited for Titan just because Blizzard puts out good stuff. So if they're thinking of something new, that's going to be pretty cool.
This is a cool news bit. Tomb Raider sequel has been confirmed for next gen by the Square CEO, and there's going to be a comic, I believe, that's going to be released.
Like a bridge.
Yeah, that bridges the gap between both games. It's going to be a direct lead into the sequel. My only hope is that it has good writing.
Yeah.
The story. I mean, I'm going to play it regardless, but I want to be able to enjoy it more.
You want a Last of Us experience.
Exactly. I want a Naughty Dog experience. Like, I mean, with the exception of Uncharted 3, like, Uncharted 1, 2, and 2, and Last of Us, like, I really cared a lot for the story. Like, 3, I think they were trying to, like, pull my chain a little too much.
I think 3, maybe they were trying to wrap it all up. I haven't played 3, so maybe they were trying to.
It was, 3 seemed contrived. Yeah,
you couldn't tell that by the American Eagle jeans and the scarf.
No, I mean, they just seemed contrived. Like, they're just trying too hard to, like, make me feel a certain way, and I knew that they were trying to do that. Because, your relationship with Sully.
Yeah.
They're trying to threaten that a little bit too much. I'm like, guys, come on.
Star Wars Battlefront. We talked about this when E3 came around, and they teased it. They finally put a date on it, and the date's probably not going to make you too happy. It's probably summer 2015. So yeah, we got 2 years.
That sucked, but I mean, I'm sure there is. Well, they explained in the article that it would be a good idea for them to let it tie in, or not necessarily tie in, but come out around the same time as the new Star Wars movie. Right. So, yeah, I mean, at least then it would sell better than it would.
I'm tired of them scheduling stuff around movies. Like, you remember that Thor comic book I gave you?
Yeah.
I when I was in the comic book shop a couple of days ago, I asked the guy, I was like, oh man, when's the next one come out? He's like, oh, when the movie comes out. They want to all come out at the same time. I'm like, he's like, you can buy the individual ones. I was like, I don't want the individual. I like the book. So I'm tired of them doing that.
Yeah, that does suck.
I guess it works. I mean,
yeah, it does work.
People are like, oh, new Star Wars movie. I guess I'll buy Battlefront.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to that. Really, I like how the DICE people, the developers for it, they pretty much beg to do the game.
Right.
You want people like that to make your game.
Well, it's cool because Battlefront was initially developed as like a homage to Battlefield. It was, same style, stuff like that.
Yeah.
And then now DICE is finally getting to do a true Battlefront game. That's awesome. Batman Origins. The more I see about this game, the more I'm intrigued by it. Initially, I was like, okay, it's another Arkham City game. Not gonna kind of rush out. Like Arkham City was good, but I don't know if I'd rush out and buy the new one again. But the more I see of it, I'm intrigued. And then they announced multiplayer.
Yeah.
And have you heard anything about the multiplayer?
Just the Joker gang, Bane's guys, and Batman and Robin.
Yeah, it's really cool. It's like a 3-on-3-on-2.
Yeah.
And it's cool because two people get to be Batman and Robin are, Joker and Harley and Bane and I don't know, Bane Jr. I don't know.
Yeah.
But like you can basically the way I think it works is you can be Batman and Robin, and then you've got 4 guys each that are on Bane and Joker's side. And those 4 guys are fighting each other while the Batman and Robin are trying to pick off all of them. And if you do so well on either one of the sides, like say you're Bane's guys, you can turn into Bane. Like you can go get Bane and then you take control of Bane. So, and obviously Bane and Joker have a little more ability to go toe-to-toe with Batman. But, when there's 4 of them, Batman can't just, run out because everybody's going to gang up on Batman.
Yeah.
So it's really cool. Like it's really interesting, the dynamic that they're going to put out there. But you're not going to be able to play it on Wii U.
Yeah, you're not going to. Wii U, I'm sorry, Wii U.
Yeah, you're going to get the single player, but no multiplayer. They basically said, Warner Brothers said, we're going to focus on the games that have multiplayer.
Like a multiplayer community.
Right. So no Wii U multiplayer. Sorry.
Oh, Grand Theft Auto 5 made it through the Australian rating board.
Yeah, I mean, I think if Saints Row can make it through eventually, I think Grand Theft Auto can. Because Grand Theft Auto, there's some risky stuff in there, but it's nowhere near Saints Row. Like Grand Theft Auto still tries to keep itself kind of grounded in reality. Like
there's no anal probe weapons.
Right. You're not running around with the dildo sword in Grand Theft Auto.
No.
Maybe a katana, but yeah.
Yeah.
So, this one probably intrigued you. XCOM,
Yeah.
Enemy Within was listed on Korean's rating board. So,
Yeah, that's interesting.
You think it's DLC? You think it's a standalone?
Hmm.
I almost think they'd have to go standalone. Like
Maybe. I mean, we haven't heard a single thing. If it was a DLC, they probably would have said something by now. They would have said that they would have announced that there would be DLC later on down the line, and we haven't heard jack.
Right. It could be a tie-in with the other XCOM game coming out, the Bureau.
The Bureau, yeah, I have been seeing them on Twitter.
So we'll keep an eye on who the Enemy Within is.
Yeah. Could be Kratos.
Wind Waker HD getting a new difficulty. That's pretty cool. So you can play super hard mode now.
Yeah.
Basically, they haven't detailed anything, but I imagine it's going to be rough.
Yeah, it's going to be rough, and it's going to come out when now? When is it going to come
October.
out? October. Finally.
Yeah.
A Wii U game coming out.
Woo!
Wow. That is so cool.
Yeah.
I know I'm being a dick.
I know. It's okay. That's what the Wii U is there for.
Yeah. So maybe dicks. Oh, apparently Nintendo first quarter profits despite Wii U only shipping 160,000 units worldwide.
Well, they got mobile games, 3DS.
Yeah, 3DS.
Those Street Pass games that they just released for the 3DS did ridiculously well. Like they sold 4 million in a week.
And Pokemon hasn't come out yet.
Yeah, I mean that'll bring it in. New Mario and Luigi game came out this week, I think. The RPG Mario and Luigi Dream Team. Interesting. So, new Mortal Kombat games in production. That's good news. I mean, the last Mortal Kombat game was amazing. So, a new one.
Yeah, that is neat. I mean, it's good to see them. I mean, they're right off the heels of doing Injustice.
Right.
So, yeah.
Yep. All right. Well, I got a preview for a game that is coming out today. Actually, it's out now. So,
oh, cool.
You can buy it on a PlayStation Store. It's PS3 Vita. It's called Dragon's Crown. It's a dungeon crawler, something, beat 'em up. Whatever. So basically, it harkens back to the old school Golden Axe, Streets of Rage type of gameplay. Kind of 2D, but you got a little bit of 3D
the
on there. I mean, it looks amazing. And this is all in-game stuff. So from what I've been reading, like the early reviews and stuff, yeah, they say PlayStation 3 and Vita, there's virtually no difference, except they actually say the Vita in terms of controls is a little better because apparently the way like you pick up loot and stuff that's dropped is you have a little guy that follows you around, and with the Vita you can use the touch control, and like as you're fighting you can just tap it and stuff like that. So there's 6 characters to choose from. Pretty much what character you choose dictates how hard the game is.
Wow.
The fighters, the standard, you don't got to worry anything. Keep your gear upgraded and just run through and bash stuff. And then you have the Amazon and the Dwarf, and they kind of get a little harder to play. Right in the middle is the Archer, who is awesome if you have multiple people to play with, but a little harder on your own. And then the 2 hardest are obviously the magic users, the Wizard and the Sorceress. Yeah. We'll get to that. But it's a dungeon crawler with the beat 'em up. You go through, you get loot. You're trying to get better stuff. The other thing that kind of affects the difficulty is each character has, I guess, like a item find level. So like the warrior and stuff will find better items innately than the wizard. So, there you go. It's a mouse.
Awesome.
I mean, it looks pretty cool.
Yeah, really.
The graphics are really good. The gameplay seems, perfect for anybody who likes the brawler. Obviously, multiplayer will be pretty amazing.
Nice.
You got stuff you can ride. You got, big monsters to kill, special moves. There's a whole stat RPG system behind it. Multiplayer. There's, collection, money. There pretty much anything you could ask for in an RPG with the brawler type of gameplay, and obviously it looks amazing. So, like I said, it's out today. It's $50 for PlayStation, $40 for Vita. One word of warning. Even though the Vita controls a little better, I've heard that there is frame rate problems with the Vita version later in the game when a lot of stuff is going on. So, honestly, you could go with either one. I'm sure that'll get fixed eventually. But yeah, Dragon's Crown.
Looks really cool.
Looks really cool. This game has caused kind of a bit of contention in the gaming world over the last couple weeks because obviously the women in this are pretty sexualized.
Yes, I mean, geez.
Right. So with the exception of the Archer, but I mean, so are most of the guys.
Yeah, okay, this is the game I was thinking of.
Yeah. So, but yeah, it's caused a pretty good amount of contention. In the forefront is a review for the game that came out a little early. Obviously, they got press pass, a press copy, and were able to review it. Basically, the reviewer really dug into the game and said, it really portrays women in a bad light. This isn't how we want women portrayed in video games, stuff like that. And they basically gave it a horrible score. They gave it like a 3 out of 10. Whereas most of the other pre-reviews and stuff coming out are giving it
Positive reviews.
very positive, like 8, 9 out of 10. Like they're saying this is what we've been waiting for in a brawler. Like not since Castle Crashers has there really been a game that's been this fun.
And I mean, it looks beautiful.
Right. So
It's hot.
yes. But I mean, the women in video games, we were talking with Nikki about this earlier, and she was like, "Oh, I'm playing devil's advocate." And as I was listening to her, I was like, "You're pretty much saying with how I feel about it, but I'm a guy, so I'm gonna feel that way." But it's nice to see that. I guess she agreed with me.
Yeah.
That video games aren't like Cosmo and whatever else those women magazines are. Cosmo is a big one, I know.
Yeah.
Where they're putting real pictures of women that are photoshopped and saying, "Oh, this is what you're expected to look like." Whereas in like a game like this,
It's fantasy.
it's fantasy, and if you look at it, everything looks ridiculous.
Yeah, everything was. I mean, come on, no dwarf is that going to be that ripped.
Right, and just wearing a loincloth.
Yeah, that dwarf has more muscles than I think a human can possibly have.
I mean, and look, the best thing I can say is with what we're watching right now is like, look at the fighter. Look how disproportionate he is. He is huge. He's got this itty bitty head. So
and those small legs.
Small legs. So, I mean, do you think, ignoring Dragon's Crown for a minute, do you think women in video games are still kind of that princess in the castle type of thing? Like,
Are they?
Are they portrayed badly in general in video games?
I don't think they're portrayed badly. Yeah, I mean, women. I mean, women have been getting bigger roles in video games, like with Last of Us, with Ellie's role. I think it's becoming a lot more balanced. But you got to look at the demographic. Most gamers are guys. So
that's not true. That's
really,
not true.
It's changed.
I mean, most of them are, but it's not the split you think it is.
It's not as disproportionate.
It, like, honestly, most gamers.
Now, is that
they did
of mobile gaming?
No, they did a study of core gamers for PlayStation, Xbox, and PC for 2012, and it was like 60-40. So I mean, obviously most are male gamers, but
yeah,
you know, there's a lot more female there, and yeah, I mean, I think games have come a long way. Like she said in the chat, like older video games, with the exception of Metroid, that's pretty much what they were regulated to. They were the princesses in a castle, and stuff like that. And really, I think around the Genesis era that we saw a few female fighters break out. Like we got to see, obviously, you know, Chun-Li, a lot of the Street Fighter characters, Sonya Blade, stuff like that. Samus was the first big one, but we got to see, you know, some characters coming out, like Streets of Rage, even in a game like this. Streets of Rage, there were predominantly female characters. Final Fight, so yeah, exactly. But yeah, I can see the older games, you know, women were kind of regulated to that, but I think we've come a long way from that. I mean, like you mentioned Last of Us, there's a whole section of the game where Ellie
is the main character.
Yeah, she's like, what, 12? And she has to take care of Joel. She, you know, she goes out hunting, you know, she holds a guy at gunpoint, she takes care of herself, and, you know, the whole time, you know, she is like that lead protagonist.
I mean, like, okay, like this game right here, it's been a while since females have been overtly sex symbols in video games. It's been a while. You know,
you mean like 2 weeks? I mean, it hasn't really been that long.
I mean, like with this game right here, obviously these women are sex symbols. But like, look at what happened with Lara Croft. She's no longer a sex symbol anymore.
Right.
What's her name? I can't think of her name, and I'm a Resident Evil fan.
Jill.
Jill. Yeah, Jill became more of a sex symbol in Resident Evil 3 with the tube top and everything. And they scrapped that and they changed it. They put her more into like, oh, I'm like a SWAT role now.
Yeah, I mean, like Nikki brings up, like they're not sex symbols. They just they're relying on other people, and I can actually argue Tomb Raider was like that. Like Tomb Raider, Laura did almost nothing on her own. Like it was always, you need to go here to do this. You need to go here to do this. It really wasn't until probably the last 30 minutes of the game that she really struck initiative. It said, okay, I need to go save Sam.
Yeah, this is what I'm going to do.
Like up until that point, it was always, oh, you know, I can't think of the guy's name.
Roth.
Yeah, what do I do, Roth? How do I do this? He's like, okay, well, you need to climb. You need to do this. You need to go here. And then when he died, she kind of wandered around for a little while, like, oh, I don't know what to do. And then she found other survivors. So I think she could be a strong character. Like I think she was getting there. But for a long time in that game, I don't think she was a strong female character.
Survivor was born.
Right. Yeah. And I agree that there are some things that need to be improved. Like I think, honestly, I think one of the best things they could have did was maybe for Grand Theft Auto 5, maybe put a female character in there.
Yeah, like that was one of the things that I was actually really surprised about. Like, okay, it was like quote unquote shocking when CJ, when they had a black character as the main
Right.
character in a Grand Theft Auto game. And I told myself the next Grand Theft Auto game they need to have a girl as the main character.
Yeah, a female protagonist. And Saints Row, you can have a female
Yeah,
protagonist.
you can. Yeah, you actually can.
So, and you obviously you can run around without clothes on if you want to.
Yeah.
But other than that, you can make her that strong character. Like she's not reliant. She builds it up without stereotyping. So I think games, like I was saying,
Mass Effect.
yeah, Mass
Femship.
Effect, even Femship to some point had some problems. But I would agree that's probably one of the better ones.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I mean, I think for what it is, like looking specifically at Dragon's Crown and saying, oh, the gaming industry hasn't made any progress with female is bad.
Yeah.
I think that was one reviewer saying, yes, these are super sexualized characters.
It's been a long time since we've had Dead or Alive Extreme Beach Volleyball or Rumble Roses.
Right, exactly. Which I still stand by. We need a new beach volleyball game. There haven't been any good volleyball games. Admit to me that. When's the last time you heard a good volleyball game? Dead or Alive.
Dead or
Beach
Alive.
Volleyball. There you go.
No.
So I mean, it has some bikinis. Okay.
Mhm.
But I think gaming has some work, and I think as time goes on, like a lot of the problem stems with gaming was male dominated for so long.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not that way anymore. Like like one of the head designers for Saints Row 2 and 3 was female. And she said, there was a lot of stuff in there that I was glad that got in there, but there was some stuff that I wasn't happy, and that kind of stuff's not going in Saints Row 4.
Okay.
So stuff like that, like how they marketed porn stars and stuff as their game, when really that had nothing to do with it. But yeah, I think Nikki summed it up best. It's fantasy. This is pure fantasy.
Yeah.
But I think, like she said, I think more strong female characters would kind of help offset that. Like they say, okay, well, we got Dragon's Crown, but then we also have Tomb Raider 2, and she, is a strong character. So, yeah, I mean,
I just want to play this game.
I know. As I'm watching it, I'm like, man, ignoring everything. Like in most of the reviews for this game, mention it. Like they say, yeah, the art style's a little out there, but that's it. And in fact, Total Biscuit, who kind of got me thinking about this because he was the first one to respond to the article. He put it. He kind of summed it up for me in the fact that, sure, like when you're looking at pictures and stuff, you're like, oh yeah, that looks pretty crazy. But he's like, an hour into the game, you don't even see it anymore. He's like, that's not what you're focusing on anymore. It's not that type of game. So, cool. There you go. That is our discussion and our preview.
Yeah, I want to play that game.
That's pretty cool. No deal of the week this week. There's various summer sales going on, but nothing really major. I think you can pick up Darkness 2 for like 70% off on Steam. Super Meat Boy is like 80% off on Steam. So small stuff here and there that have some pretty steep discounts, but nothing major, nothing far-reaching.
Nothing that jumps out.
Dragon's Crown came out today. Tales of Xillia came out today. That was the other one I was interested in. I love all the Tales games.
DuckTales should be coming out soon.
Next week. DuckTales.
Yeah.
I was actually going to talk about that. We might try to stream that and do a family game night.
Ooh.
So we'll get together and do that. Otacon's this weekend, so we'll see how everything goes. And next week is, I believe Nikki's last week of school. If not, it's the second last week. So it's like crunch time. So, well, we'll work something out, but I do want to stream it. So we'll figure something out. Cool. All right. That's our show for this week. Monday nights. We might start a little later from now on. We'll probably talk about that too. But for now, Monday 7. Check the calendar. if we do decide to start later, I'll put it on there. It's just now with the kid and, you're working Monday nights, it's really a crunch. Like tonight, honestly, you came home at 6:30 and none of us had eaten. Like we were making our food. You were making your food. We're like shoving food in our mouths.
I was reading stuff.
Yeah, you're like, oh, I didn't see this story. I didn't see this story. So, we'll figure it out. But, check out the YouTube channel. Check out the webpage. I had some technical problems, so our pictures are gone. But check out Charm City Alliance and MarvelHeroesDigest.com. Hopefully the pictures will be back next week. Otherwise, see you next Monday.
See ya.
See you next Tuesday. So used to doing it on Monday.
Yeah.
Gamers Digest is a Spider One and Mr. Factastic production. All characters and games are owned by their respective companies and are used under the fair use law. Check out Gamers Digest at gamersdigest.me, on YouTube under Gamers Digest Podcast, like us on Facebook, and follow us on Twitter at The Gamers Digest. Viewer questions and comments can always be sent to gamersdigestpodcast@gmail.com. See you next week.